Anime NZ Live is brought to you by Crunchyroll.com. Sign up for a free 2-week trial, watch all your favorite anime wherever you want on your PC, tablet, mobile phone. Go to bit.ly/Anime NZ Live.
Do you guys have any embarrassing moments from the behind the scenes that you could share with us?
If I couldn't answer that then, what makes you think I'm going to answer it? Embarrassing? Well, I will just tell you that while you negotiate with the organizers, I will just tell you that my costume was pretty difficult to get in and out of in certain of its incarnations, and there was a fellow whose primary job on set was to dress Apophis and undress Apophis. And that fellow enjoyed his job a little too much for my liking. So on occasion it was embarrassing, but he turned out to be such a nice guy, I just let him do what he wanted. And you know, times have changed. That's no longer embarrassing, it's merely an anecdote.
He did love the boys then.
He did, yes. Oh, he dressed you too?
And undressed me.
Cliff, he wasn't actually assigned to do that job, he just did it anyway.
I had, one of the funny things was when they couldn't decide if they wanted to use my real hair, which was very, very red at the time, or to wig me, or to go with a kind of black wig from like sort of colour Cleopatra. And I went through lots of makeup tests and all sorts of things, and then finally on my very first day when they decided for the wig, I sort of had half my face done because they were testing the makeup and the other half not done, and it's now, 6 a.m. No one really is their best at 6 a.m. and no wig on, so my hair in pink colas with that sort of stocking on it, in a robe and a dressing gown, at the craft service table, shoving a bagel into my mouth, and I feel a tap on the shoulder, it's like, hey, I'm broke, and I went, I am not the Elephant Man, I am an actor.
She's so good at that.
It was horrendous. I've had a lot of embarrassing practice. So that was kind of embarrassing.
I just have a story. I've actually told it maybe here earlier, but it was embarrassing for someone else. We were doing a scene where I'm attacking Amanda, and Rick comes in and he's trying to, save her, and I've already kind of, my Jaffa have been downed, and, we've got zap point, and we suddenly hear, and it's one of the Jaffa, and of course we try to continue for a little while, because they've been lying there. Of course, it takes a lot longer to film these things than it is on screen, so someone got really relaxed, and as we start a new take, and it was only when I was in Chicago at Creation last month that I realized which Jaffa that was, and it was Dan Payne.
Who went on, who graduated from Jaffa status.
Yes.
Chris Judge always tells a funny story about, I don't know what season, you'll probably be able to tell me, but when he said he was so tired that in one of the scenes he was just sleeping, and then one of the producers came and said, were you sleeping? Oh my God, that is so disrespectful. Were you sleeping through that take? And he's like, no. I was meditating.
Indeed. Before we go any further on the embarrassing thing, I would just like to caution Cliff about how he holds that microphone, because it appears to be... What's wrong with women?
Alright, that's my most embarrassing moment I've had. I didn't really ever get embarrassed. Paul doesn't get embarrassed. But
He's got balls.
He's got big balls. He doesn't get embarrassed. The one I don't remember the episode. We were in the jungle with a force field and they arrived, and I was like, wait. Tilt gave me a power bar to chew because I hadn't eaten for a while. And I was chewing that, and then he came up behind me and he grabbed me in the take. And the power bar just went flying. It was fantastic, and I wish they'd kept it, but the problem is we actually ruined the shot because both Chris and I just packed up laughing. We actually couldn't shoot that scene. It was so natural and fantastic, but they never kept it in. It just went flying, like right, it was great. So that was kind of a funny moment. It wasn't really embarrassing, but it kind of was because, you know, you got the whole crew watching you and all that kind of stuff. So.
I also remember it finally occurred to me one day when I was doing, it was Metamorphosis, so I was wearing that particularly revealing costume with the keyhole cutout that was for a very large key, I think. And I had this habit, and I know I'm not alone, I'm not the only actress who does this. You can see yourself in the camera lens. So I was using the camera lens as my mirror before we shot, and I realized I was kind of arranging myself. And then I looked over at Video Village, which is where we call the, you know, the playback screens, and I realized that everyone was paying very close attention. And it occurred to me, oh, the feed is still, you know, it's not just when the camera's live, and so I stopped doing that.
But it's the first clip on the blooper reel.
Or blooper reel.
Blooper reel.
Blooper reel.
Dude, you got value for your answers.
Yeah, they're sitting watching those screens, and even upstairs, like if you're on set, upstairs in the production offices, the screen's on, and you're standing in front of the camera, and you're like, doing all this kind of stuff.
Actors in this.
It's kind of like when you,
Actors.
also what you forget when you're on set, you're mic'd.
Your microphone.
And you're like, I just got to run to my trailer, I've got to go to the toilet, you know? And you forget you're mic'd. And you eventually, after learning, you eventually learn, okay, I've got to switch the mic off, I've got to switch it off, and then you go to the toilet because often you just hear this, it's crazy.
You mentioned Don S. Davis, and that reminds me of something he said. He came up with this, and I'm not sure if it was his, but his delivery made it his in my book. He said, I'm just going to drop the kids off at the pool.
Being the gentleman that he was.